Sure, I would be honestly.
So I'm going to use this platform for the parliamentary discussions, and especially the process that we embarking on now on the ad hoc committee that is tasked with the responsibility of investigating the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. So I'm going to use this platform. Van ken mos you know my broer. I like jokes, man, and this bietjie serious ding, maar I just want to say thank you to him, to Ombiza, for sharing my page, my platform on his page. So this is also for those people that wants to connect with me as the parliamentarian, you know. And so because that there's a lot of things that Ombiza can't really talk about. And he joke man alles, man. You know, he just jokes with everything. So so this is for some of you that and Ombiza Khan said that he's also going to talk about what is happening in the committee and so on. But when you go to Ombiza to hear about this on the war funding, Muni serious expect. Don't expect this kind of vibe from Ombiza, because that's just not him. Okay, he's going to use his favorite word, you know, which I don't really want to use, although it's not swearing, but I word gebruik. You know, he's going to also, but there's a lot of people who says there's this words that he uses, phrase that he uses, and dan sê die mense moenie die naam van die Here uiterlik gebruik nie, you know. So he does that, and he just doesn't care. Like, he just has no care in the world. But you know, myself, unlike my brother, I am more conscious of certain things on certain platforms, and I'm using this platform because you see, there Patricia's already coming up from Biza. Ek het nog nie eens reg gepraat, julle so oorry, man. I don't even understand. Even look there, Denver. Pastor Olsen says, blessings to you, sir. Your brother on Biza Funny Cup gonna get angry at you because you wanna take up his role. You see, I'm not taking up his role. He's not in parliament there. He likes to pretend like he's there. He's not there. And sometimes will he gaan. You see now there, see something Khoisan galand. Om Biza se gedagtes hier op my page kom bring. Sien julle nog? And that's the problem I'm having. Even if he's not here, then you guys now want to bring him in here. You know, just leave Biza out of this. He will do his own thing. He's gonna talk about home version van wat gebeur het in die komitee. En ek het nou nie lus vir Biza se stories nie. So you know what I mean? Ek het nog redig die lus van stories nie. So, en ek wil bietjie sonder hom, man. You know, ek wil ook bietjie my eie I want also grow my own work and the work that I do. I'm just tired of depending on this guy, you know, and it reminds me of it all the time, you know. So and as the real, you know, because you support meer from Biza is what you see there. There sees where Diba is asking, who's on Biza? Sees where I think what's important, my brother, is just to know that you're talking to MP Sauls Oike, the first. You'll learn more about Ombiza. The people here, they can explain that to you, but it's a very it's a very long story. You'll find it out as you go along. you'll find it out. But that's exactly why I'm on this platform, because I know many people don't really understand Ombiza, because you have to have walked with Ombiza from years ago to understand him, to understand the way he thinks, his mindset and so on. But he's a very nice guy to listen to, and also he can switch between Afrikaans and English, but he hates really speaking in English. And then, he just wants to stick to Afrikaans. And then there's a lot of people that usually asks him to say, speak in Afrikaans, speak in English. And then, he finds it hard, although he tries to do it. So I'm more of the, more comfortable in dealing with the issues in English so that everybody can understand, especially serious issues that pertains to our country. He will joke about every single thing, like even serious stuff of our country. He's going to joke about it. So you're going to hear soon enough. He's going to talk about this thing, and then you're going to see he's going to make a big joke about what has happened. Sizwe says, I've met you at CUT this year. We shared a goodies together in the canteen. Nice. Thank you very much, Sizwe. And we still have a lot to do with CUT, and so keep on pushing, and we will keep on working hard to serve all of you as best we can. Washila says, what is Ombiza Sonal Ashley, and what is Ashley Sonal Ombiza? That's the truth, eh? I mean, when you see me, you see Ombiza. When you see Ombiza, you see me. Even today, we dress the same. But, the difference is he drinks, I don't drink. And you can hear it when he speaks, but for me, I need to be sober to be sober. He needs to be drunk to be sober. He's the most sober at his drunkest, and it's a conundrum for me. I can't understand that, but it's actually the truth. It makes more sense when he sounds drunk. But me, what you see is what you get. When you're sober, you're sober. When I'm sober, I'm sober. I don't even drink. I don't even touch alcohol. But he's that brother of mine that's just, all of us have that kind of brother. As a matter of fact, all of us have an Ombiza in us. And every Ombiza has an Ashley in him. And so we must not look down on everybody, because all of us has a valid contribution to make to life. And so let me jump on it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the allegations, and every single question that you guys have, I'm going to answer it as a member of parliament as best I can. And please click share, tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell a person. We're going to use this platform. You're going to walk with me through the journey within the committee, the ad hoc committee. I'll start off by explaining to you what the ad hoc committee is. I will start off explaining to you what has transpired today within the ad hoc committee. And if there's anything through the process that you want to know about the ad hoc committee and what happens there, this is the platform to come to. Before you listen to the news, before you listen to what everybody else says, come to this platform. This should be your platform. If you want to hear from me, if you want to hear about what my experience there was and what I was doing there on behalf of the Patriotic Alliance and why we are there, come hear it here. Don't use as the basis for the narrative, because you can't trust at all times what media houses say. They'll speak the truth untruthfully, and it's a huge potential that can happen through this process, because it's a very delicate process and it can be swung in any way. So if you ever have a question about what happened in committee, or what happened, if you see it on the news or you see it before you take a stance on the Patriotic Alliance's position within the committee, come here, come to this platform, say to any news outlet or whatever, before you talk about the Patriotic Alliance's role, in the committee before you talk about Honorable Oike, the first Sauls' role in the committee. We want to hear from him first, and I've learned that approach from my political mentor, someone who's like a father to me, of course, as you all know already, my president, His Excellency Gayton Mkhwanazi, and he uses that approach because what you've seen is they'll talk a lot of things about him, which is not necessarily true, which is untrue. They spin the truth. So the reason why I say not necessarily true is because they'll use some truth, but they'll spin the truth, and it will make you believe something different than what it actually is. And so what he then used, which is genius, brilliant, he then uses, instead of calling for a press conference or calling for whatever, he then ensures that if he has something to say the way he wants to say it, and then he creates this platform, calls a live, and then he shares the true facts, and you hear it from the horse's mouth. And unlike, you just have to wait and listen to what the media says. So I want you to always come to this platform if you want to confirm something. Okay, so let's begin very quickly. So on the 6th of July, the country was obviously shocked by the revelations from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, who is the provincial police commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal. And he came on a live press conference, and he made some very strong allegations. Now, it's very important for all of you to understand that at this point, the things that he has said are allegations. It is things that has not been proven in court, is things that has not been tested. So there should be a legal process for testing the things that he has said on national television. Okay, so so what is important is then for you to understand the process. So after those allegations was made by General Mkhwanazi about that implicates the Minister of Police, Minister Nkunu, the President of the country, President Cyril Ramaphosa, then decided that these allegations needs to be investigated. So he then suspended or put the Minister Nkunu on leave. He suspended him and put him on leave, and then appointed, based on what the Constitution says, the Constitution of our country, that he's allowed to appoint someone outside of the cabinet and outside of the National Assembly as a minister within his cabinet, within the executive. And as you would see, that he then appointed a new minister of police, whilst the other minister, can't say former minister, whilst Minister Nkunu is on suspended leave, right? So that was done so that two constitutional processes takes place. Now, you can get frustrated as you can be like, why don't after that life they just arrest this one and arrest that one? Because that's not how the law works. Put yourself, if someone comes now and talks about you, I want you to get the reasoning. If someone comes now and talks about you and says you stole something, okay? And whether you stole it, whether you didn't steal it, but if someone comes, the law requires that someone must not just say to you or say about you that you've stolen something, and then the police come and they arrest you just because somebody said you stole something. No, you then must be, it must be tested in the court of law, right? So someone makes an allegation, says you stole this, then that person must go prove that you stole it in the court of law. And then there's two different processes for criminal law and civil law. In criminal law, which in this case, if you said someone stole something, then you must prove beyond reasonable doubt that this person has done that thing. Why is that important? Because if the person gets punished and goes to jail, then that person goes to jail because that person has been proven to have done something wrong. Otherwise, I mean, look at what happens on Facebook. How many people do you know? Like in our case, imagine if every time someone said something about prayers, myself, and then the police just come and they arrest you just because somebody said so. That's what an allegation is. But the allegation must be tested. Now, in the same way, I want you to think about this process. It's the same thing now. General Mkhwanazi has made very strong allegations against the police minister and implicated many others. Now those allegations are out there. Now, the country just wants, they must act. Yes, but what action must there be? We must now test those allegations. So the president has instituted from his side, which the constitution of the country allows him to do. So it's called the Judicial Commission. That is the one track to test these allegations. So that Judicial Commission is led by the judicial system. A judge runs that with other judges and lawyers and whatever. And they will then call witnesses, those kind of people. Then there's a two-pronged approach. So that's the one side. The president is responsible for calling the Judicial Commission. But then the Constitution also empowers Parliament, because you must remember, Parliament is separate from the executive, right? So you have the National Assembly, which consists of 400 MPs. Hold on for me. Sorry, I just wanted to close that door because of the wind. So, which consists out of 400 MPs. And then that 400 MPs is divided into different seats, party seats. So you would have the majority seats. Out of that 400 is occupied by the ANC. Second to them is the Democratic Alliance. Third is the MKP party, the Mkhwanazi party. After them, it's the EFF. After the EFF is the IFP. After the IFP is the Patriotic Alliance. We are the sixth largest party in this country. And then after us, you have Action SA, Freedom Front Plus, and the rest of the others. Bossa, Rise Mzansi, and there's other smaller parties like Good, like NCC and others. Right, that forms. And then now there must be a government. Now in our country, a government, there's not a majority party anymore because the ANC got less than 50%. So they don't have the majority. So now they have to join with other parties. And excuse me if you know this already, but for those that doesn't, let's just walk slow with it so that we can understand where we are. So you have the Democratic Alliance now joining the ANC to form a government, right? So that they can have 50 plus to form a government. And then you have the PA, which is us, also forming part of that. IFP forming part of that. Good forming part of that. All these parties forms now the Government of National Unity. Now, because the Democratic Alliance, although based on party seats, they are the second largest party in the country. So ordinarily, if the ANC was the majority party and had over 50%, then they would have been the government automatically. And automatically, the second largest party would have been the opposition, like it has always been, like in the 6th administration. But because the ANC has below 50% and they cannot be a government, a majority government on their own, you now have the Democratic Alliance that now joins them. So if the Democratic Alliance joins the ANC in government, then that now means, according to the eyes of the law, the Democratic Alliance is no longer automatically the opposition party. So now it falls back to who's now the party after the Democratic Alliance that has the majority. That would be Mkhwanazi party. So now the Mkhwanazi party becomes the opposition in the eyes of the law and in terms of our constitution. So now the MKP now becomes what the DA used to be. But as you know, what you see is that the DA behaves like they are still the opposition, but they are actually the government. Yeah? So they have a stake within the government. So then you have the other parties that forms that government. So now you have the National Assembly, the House, is divided into two sections, the right and the left. So the right is always the government, right? The ones who governs. The left is always the opposition, right? And of course, because the parties are a lot, oftentimes, the right overlaps into the left, but you have the opposition, which is on the opposition side. So who's the opposition? The opposition, the official opposition, is MKP. Then EFF is part of that. They then call themselves together. The opposition calls themselves the Progressive Caucus. So they have also diverse parties being a part of that. So their job is to oppose, right? So you'll never have a situation. So when you watch Parliament and you see EFF and the MKP always talks against the ANC and talks against the GNU, it's what they're supposed to do in a democracy because they are the opposition. They must oppose. Now it's just the DA is struggling to get out of the mode of opposing, because they oppose themselves as a government because they want it, they bread buttered on both sides. They want to be in the government as the government, but they also want to be opposing of things. You saw it with the budget, you saw it with all of those kind of stuff. But what they do is they don't just oppose, they oppose to get something in return. Right? So alabata ok onar makar. Well, that's politics. And then, of course, now you have out of the GNU, now there's what is called the executive. So you have the president who is the head of the executive. So politically, Ramaphosa is the president of the African National Congress. And then based on the constitutional democracy, he is the president or the head of state, right? So now as the president, he represents all of us. He's the face of the entire country, right? But there's dynamics there, which we'll talk about on another stage. But for now, just understand. So now the ANC, because it's no longer a majority party, the government, the cabinet of the president no longer just consists of ANC members. It now consists of a multiple representation of different parties, of which our party, the Patriotic Alliance, holds one seat in cabinet. And that, of course, is the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. And then all the other parties has the different other portfolios. But ultimately, they are all then become ministers in the cabinet of the president of South Africa. So even though they are different political parties, but they are one government. Yes? But because it's different parties, there's always going to be loggerheads and disagreements and so on. But never view it as conflict. Always view it as friction. Okay, the DA must still get that, but ordinarily, and I did a speech in Parliament where I was trying to explain this when we did the adoption of the fiscal the fiscal framework and the revenue bill. When we did that, I was sharing that scripture says, iron sharpens iron. And so when you rub against each other, when one Easter rubs against another Easter, the result of that rubbing, it's an uncomfortable process. The result of it is sharpening. So when there is disagreements, it's just they rub against each other. It's an uncomfortable process that's called friction, but the end result is to sharpen one another, right? So therefore, you should never be intimidated by the strength of others and try and just always be around people who's weaker than you. Always be around people who's as strong as you, preferably stronger than you, so that you can always rub up against each other, so that the result of that is you walk away sharpened. Now that's the idea. Instead of conflict, banging against each other, you see, banging against each other, no one benefits out of that. Now, one day, hopefully the DA will understand that. So even though you in the GNU and you don't agree with everything, it doesn't mean that because we are in the GNU, we just yes sir to everything that the ANC wants, everything that the DA wants, everything. No, you are still independent. Who decided that the government must be formed like that? Guess who decided that? Just take a wild guess. Who decided that the government must be like that? You, South Africans, decided that because of how you voted. You gave a certain majority of seats to the ANC, second majority to the DA, third majority to the MK. You only gave us 9. You were saying to us, we're giving you Stucky, we want you to govern together. But in that arrangement of us governing together, you gave the most to the ANC. You gave second most to the DA. So they have more of a voice than they have more of a voice and more of power than what we have. Because of who? Because of you. So if you want to change that, if you want to now say, yeah, but the PA is supposed to do this, the PA is supposed to do that. In government, you can't just now go do. You didn't give us the power to go do what you now expect us to do. People gave it to the ANC, they gave it to the DA, they gave it to other parties. But the next elections, you must ask yourself, we want to give more power for the Patriotic Alliance to do more. In order for you to do that, you must vote more for us. Then we are able to do more. So now that you have that executive breakdown like that, now you have the National Assembly is now split between the executive, which you have the president and his cabinet, and then you have the legislature. Legislature is obviously consisting of MPs, which is the parliamentarians. And what legislature, based on our constitution, is meant to do is to provide oversight over the executive. Now, note very carefully that the same party members that is in the cabinet of the president, the same party members, not as individuals, but as members of a party, is represented in the legislature. Do you see? So, for example, you'll have President Mkhwanazi, our president, the best minister in this country. He is a minister. But then you have us, the other 8 members of parliament. We now on the other side, which is the legislature, and through what they call portfolio committees, we then have to provide oversight over all these portfolios. So we'll sit on different committees. So you'll have the Minister of Education, for example, split into basic education, higher education. Then you have members of parliament sitting on committees that provides oversight as a form of what the constitution would call checks and balances, the rule of law, the balance of power, etc., to hold the executive accountable to give you services. Do you understand? So legislature provides oversight and drafts and creates laws. The executive executes those laws. The judiciary presides over it to ensure that it aligns with the constitution. The execution, the legislation, and the execution, these functions aligns with the constitution. So all these three facets of governance are all independent from each other. Or should we say interdependent, because you need each other, but there's some sort of independence. And then you have another second house called the National Council of Provinces. Okay? Now, I hope you understand. You have a concept of that. So, Mbisa gaan het other way explain. And by Fanela, you appreciate Mbisa's explanation, that's fine. But he'll explain it in another way. Just so that you see what gaan hy nou sê. Onze maatskappij, ik wil net schaffen die dingen explain van executive en parlement en wat. These 400 mensen, baie van hulle groot magte, ronde tone en dik skoene en papsuits. Hulle loop rond en ons het daar so in die parlement en gesit. Dan het jy, dit is geseparate in die executive, jy het die president en sy cabinet. Die cabinet, soos die cabinet in jou maas is, die colored cabinet, verstaan jy, met die glas in, met die pink glas hoinkies op, en verstaan jy, maar nou in die case in die cabinet, het different hoinkies also bijna. And of course, onze pres is die last hond, hy is die los hond in die cabinet, verstaan jy. Maar die president Ramaphosa is die leier en hy is responsible om die goedes te execute. Like different sections, soos die ministry van police, die ministry van higher education en so. En dan is het nog die anders. Die anders is nog die legislature. Sien jy, die legislature, daar is hulle maak die laws wat ons nog onderlewe, wat jy niks te doen het. Jy vote net zodat hulle die laws vir jou kan maak. 400 mensen, imagine. Gaan ze daar, so je kan eens, imagine Papa Penny met bolas en goeders en gouden vingers. Ze maken los also. 400 mensen maken los voor 60 miljoen. 60 miljoen mensen, ons is like 60 tot 65 miljoen. Nee man, jullie moeten ook een beetje denken wie ze mensen met bolas aan zitten, verstaan. Groep mannen met bolas. Zit voor hulle daar zo. En om rules te maken, je moet ook recht doen. Ook geen beetje die patriotieke lines meer ziet. Je hebt die kracht om het te doen. Je hebt next jaar 2026 en dan 2029. Krak voor alles het wakker toch. Dan heb je nou die legislature, hulle maak die rules. Dan heb je die judiciary. Die judiciary, die mensen waar daar zo zitten met die lange rokken en goed is en die lawyers wat lijken zoals penguins. Hulle gaan zo zijn werk. Imagine elke dag een lang rok aan zitten en die zie alle hem. Met frilletjes, lekker trouw elke dag, verstaan je? Dat is nu de judiciary. En die zullen allemaal is interdependent. En dan heb je nu de NCOP, dat is nu de National Council of Provinces, is zo opgebreid dat elke provincie heeft representation in de National Council of Provinces. Dat is nu die tweede is in de National Assembly. En ik praat Afrikaans, ik is bij maar ik weet als een paar Engelse mensen voor te zeggen, ik kan nog redelijk nog niet, wil Spanglish niet. Ik heb nog net geprobeerd om chap veel hij dan kortelijk te explain. Wat mijn broer was lang, voor wat? Vir wat? Vir wat moet jy nou so lank vat? Ons kon nou al lank al klaar gewees het. Okay. Ek hoop hulle verstaan nou die separation van, they call it the separation of powers. Okay, kom maar, moenie bysa nie, dankie. Jy gaan nou terugkom en weer lang kom praat met beswis. Ek ken nie, mors ook julle tyd sit die luister vir hom. Hy like die mense met hulle groot soets, maar at least hy lyk daarom lekker, hy ruik ook lekker. Maar ek meen, vir wat? As alles en as ons sit met rooie overalls en helmet op hulle kop, hoekom gaan makkelijk want straat recht, kom as met zwart plastic boots, en die warmte hier op Kaap, en as het sommige is baie warm, hoe voel je voeten en die plastic boots met rooie overalls, die hele dag sit je daar so, en het is lang daar so in het parlement, en je sit lang daar so met een rooie overall. Kom gaan maak jy die ones paper recht, sit jy daar so maak rules voor. Verstaan, anders het army kleren aan, alles nog die opposition. As alles skreen en doen sulke goede as so nee man. Maar anyway, ek gaan het nog weer vir hom oorgee dat hy kan praat met julle. Moenie bysa nie, if you didn't understand, dis nou jou besigheid, ek het nog niks met dit te doen nie, dan kyk op hy, moenie bysa nie. Okay, so there you had it. I mean, I hope that all of you understood. Umbiza, it's my brother, guys. It's like he just knows how to do it. So what you have, the president now, as the leader of the executive, right? He now comes and he says, and Mkhwanazi comes and he makes the delegations on the 6th of July. And so now the president uses his powers. He creates a commission of inquiry, which is now going to call witnesses and so on. You're going to see that. And then the parliament, which is independent from the judiciary, has its own process, right? And that process now is called, instead of a commission, a judicial commission, it is called, in the parliamentary setup, it is called an ad hoc committee. Now, you've got, as I said, you've got portfolio committees for every single ministry. And now you have what they call ad hoc committees. Now the word ad hoc means temporary, special, and so on. So it's a special committee created for a particular function, right? With a stipulated time period, a beginning time and an ending time, right? So portfolio committees, for example, it's indefinite in a sense, but of course, it closes as an administration changes every single 4 years. Okay, so but it's the existence of the committee is still the same. It's just the membership that changes every 4 years after the general elections. But an ad hoc committee is a special committee for a specified period. Now, the president does not create the parliamentary ad hoc committee because the head of the legislative wing is not the president. It is the Speaker of Parliament, right? So the Speaker then creates or forms or calls for the ad hoc committee for a particular purpose. So the things that must be satisfied is that there must be a time frame for this ad hoc committee that is clearly specified. In this instance, the existence of the ad hoc committee is from now until the 31st of October. That's how much time this ad hoc committee has been given to investigate. Now, you have the time frame, then you must have the purpose for which, the special purpose for which it is formed. The special purpose for which this committee is formed is the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi that implicates, amongst others, the Minister of Police. So now Parliament is going to investigate, test that allegations for truth, yes, through this particular process, right? So now you have the time frame of its existence. when it gets its conclusions, it then tables its conclusions in the National Assembly for adoption and then action, right? Then it has the purpose. The purpose is for the allegations to be investigated. Now it must be formed. Now, every party must be represented on the ad hoc committee. Remember now, the parties represented is basically saying it is you that's sitting on that committee, because all the parties that are on there is parties you as South Africans voted for. Now, because everyone doesn't have equal amount of votes, the proportion of seats on the committee is given based on the number of votes. So there's a particular formula that they use. So in this instance, the one committee consists of 11 members. 11 members. So you have the African National Congress, who has the most votes or the most seats. So they will have the most seats also in the ad hoc committee. Whether you don't know like of me, you can't also sit and say, "Nee, the ANC can't be on the ad hoc committee." It will be unconstitutional. It will not be representative. You don't like the ANC. Some of you that are from the ANC or from the DA, you don't like the PA. But if you had a choice not to have the PA on the ad hoc committee, many of them would have said, "We don't want PA there." Yes, we don't want PA there. But even though you didn't vote for the ANC, or you didn't vote for the DA, or you didn't vote for the EFF, but constitutionally there are people who did vote for them. And the Constitution must protect that democratic right of people that's chosen them to represent them. And because they've been given the most, they have to be on this committee. Whether you know a foot country, there's nothing you can do about it. There are people in this country that has voted for them and has given them more votes than anybody else. So they have to sit on that committee whether you like it or not. If you want to change that, change it at the next election. If you don't want the ANC to sit on committees, you don't want them to, change it by your vote. Okay? That's how you do it. So they have to sit on there. So now they get the majority of seats. So the ANC is then given, I'm going to have to explain this to you. So the ANC, the four top parties, they get automatic seats. So they don't need to negotiate and all of they already get automatic seats, right? So it's a full 11-member seat, right? 11-member committee rather. So you have the ANC is allocated 4 seats out of 11. 4 is given automatically to the ANC based on the formula. And this is constitutional. You want to blame somebody? You want to blame somebody that they have that? Blame yourself. Don't get angry at us. You voted. And if you didn't vote for the ANC, don't get angry at us. The people who voted for them, according to the Constitution, has to be represented. And they are given the piece of the pie equivalent to the votes that they have received. Right? So they've received 4. Then they also have an alternate member. Now, an alternate is what it means. Alternate. It means that if one of that 4 falls ill, then this guy becomes in the place of this one, right? So they're not 5. They are actually 4 full members and 1 alternate. Now, the alternate can be present in the committee, in all the sittings, can be present. But when it comes to voting, the difference is only full members can vote. So in other words, although they have 5 seats on the committee, they only have 4 voting seats because the one is an alternate. Do you understand that? All right. So now they have 4 seats. Then Democratic Alliance has 3 seats. Can you see that? So ANC 4, Democratic Alliance 3. Why do they have 3? They have the second largest number. Why? In terms of general votes, they've got the second amount. Luke Tajara, very close. I'm going to explain that to you now. Not necessarily that the PA has to be a part of the committee. In this instance, the top 4 has to be a part of the committee. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how this works. So now, there must be 11 members. Now, there's too many parties. There's more parties than seats available. So they cater for the top 4, which is ANC 4 seats, DA 3 seats. Then you have MK Party, they have 2. See, it goes 4, 3, 2. Then EFF 1, so the top 4. So now you have 4 seats, 4, 3, 7, 2, 9. Am I right? No, I'm lying. You have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 3. 4 plus 3 will give you 7. Then you've got MKP, which is 2. So it's 7, it's 8, 9 for MKP. Then you have EFF has am I counting correctly, guys? Oh, I'm lying. Democratic Alliance got 2, because the number is mixing me up now. I wanted to say if they have 3, then it won't come up to 11. So it's not correct. The Democratic Alliance didn't get 3 full members. They got 2. They got 2 full members. All right. So the Democratic Alliance got 2 full members and 2 alternate members. So ANC got, based on the formula, ANC got 4 full members, 1 alternate. Then DA got 2 full members and 2 alternates, right? So it is 4 plus 2 is 6. We're just counting the voting members, not the alternates now. It's 6. And then Mkhwanazi Sizwe also got 2. So 6, 7, 8. That's now already 8 seats. Then Economic Freedom Fighters got 1 full member. So that's now how much? 9. So then there's 2 seats left to become 11. Now, it must always be an odd number, right? 11 members. The reason why? Because you must know, if there's an equal split of votes, then that 1 seat is the splitting vote. That's why there should always be an odd number. So, no, it's not 10. It is 11 full seats, right? So, the remaining 2 seats must be occupied now by what they would call the smaller parties. Now, IFP and us, we're not smaller parties. The smaller parties is those with 6 or 2, but we are clubbed together with them. Now, this is very key. Derek, so it's 4, 2, 2, 1, that's correct. So it's 9. Then there's 2 left to make it 11. That 2 is given to all the parties clubbed together from IFP, PA, Action SA, FF Plus, BOSA, ACT, Good, all of them clubbed together. So they clubbed us together with the smaller parties. From number 5 down, they clubbed us together. Now, that parties must now negotiate amongst each other who out of that parties is going to go to occupy the 2 remaining seats. So the other bigger parties, they already saved, they're automatically in. Now there's 2 left. So who out of that is, so now they must negotiate. And when we negotiated, Now it's the chief whips that has to go and negotiate. And this is where you must celebrate our chief whip, Honorable Marlon Daniels, who went there and he had to now fight there. Wie van ons gaan? And he went there, he challenged, negotiated, them and IFP with Action SA, with all the parties, and then they decided, based on the debate, they decided the formula they're going to use amongst the smaller parties is going to be party strength. So then it becomes automatic amongst them that those with the most gets preference. So who's the most? It's PA and IFP. So IFP gets 1 seat, PA gets 1 seat. So Luki, that's how PA got one of those 2 seats. And then they agreed then the third and the fourth will get alternate. So the third largest amongst the other parties, the third largest was Action SA and FF Plus with 6 seats, and they got alternate members, and that's how Action SA got on and FF Plus got on. But FF Plus and Action SA don't have voting power because they are alternate and we are full. So PA can vote, IFP can vote, Action SA and FF Plus can't vote, even though they are allowed to be present at every committee sitting. If I can't make it, for example, and voting needs to happen, then either Action SA or FF Plus will vote in the place of PA or in the place of IFP. Yes? So that's now how 11 is constituted, and then, as you know, the alternate members. So the committee consists of 11 members, and those are the parties that are part of those of the ad hoc committee. Now the ad hoc committee was now formed, the parties is now represented. Now in the eyes of the law, this ad hoc committee now represents who? All of you, because your parties that you voted for are represented there. Right? So jy kan nou regtig squeal, hoop squeal, and sê die ANC moenie daar is die hoere. How on earth, ek gaan nou van Bisa om die ding te explain. Maar how on earth? Yolanda says, let's see if Yolanda's numbering is working properly there. Yolanda says ANC equals 4, DA equals 2, MKP equals 2, EFF equals 1, and then there's the 2, which is IFP and PA, which makes it 11, and there must always be an odd number. Correct, Yolanda, you are 100% correct there. All the other parties make up the 2 other seats. Negotiations begins to see who will represent, done by the chief whips. IFP 1, PA 1, Action SA, alternate, FF Plus, alternate. Well done, Yolanda. 100% correct. That is 100% correct. If I had to mark you, you would have had 100% in your exam. Fantastic. It's a clear, proper understanding of how it's constituted. So, sorry, Larry, I'll stick to English. Don't worry, I'm not my brother. I will only stick to English. Don't worry. So there you have it. So now, that 11 members is now representative of the entire country that's now going to investigate. Now, here's the 2 key things that now needs to happen. You now need to have a chairperson who is going to chair this committee, this ad hoc committee, right? Who's going to chair? So now a chairperson must be elected by the committee, by all these parties, by DA, by EFF, right? So now today was the day for electing the chairperson, because you can't have the committee without having a chairperson to lead the process. So the chairperson had to be elected today, and that's why we gathered together today. We convened today with the sole purpose on the agenda to elect the chairperson. So let me also inform you who the members are, right? So that you also know. Right? So for the ANC, you have Honorable Ntuli, you have Honorable Sangoni, you have Honorable Lekhanyani, you have Honorable Mkola. And then the alternate for them is Honorable Sokanyile, Miss Sokanyile. Then for the Democratic Alliance, you have Honorable Cameron, you have Honorable Breitenbach, you have Honorable Koller, and you have Honorable Schickling. All right, those are alternates. Honorable Koller and Schickling are alternates for the DA, but their full members are Honorable Cameron and Honorable Breitenbach, Glynis Breitenbach. Then you have for the MKP, you have Honorable Nomvalo, you have Honorable Skosana as full members, and the alternate is Honorable Shongwe. Then you have for the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, as a full member, you have Honorable Malema, and you have as an alternate, you have Honorable Mates. Then it's now the other parties. For the Inkatha Freedom Party, you have Honorable Ntwango. I hope I said it correctly. And then for the Patriotic Alliance, you have Honorable Ashley Koike, the first Sauls, which I'm very humbled by my party, that our party president, our national leadership, and the entire Patriotic Alliance, thank you very much for your confidence in me to be the one representing the Patriotic Alliance on this ad hoc committee. Then you have the alternate members for the other parties, which is us. You have Honorable Vessels, who's an alternate from the Freedom Front Plus, and you have Honorable James, who is the alternate and is from the Action SA. Right. You see, Bridget is saying, we don't need the ANC. Well, that can be something that you dream about at night, but unfortunately, that committee would not be able to be formed constitutionally without the ANC. Why? Because whether you like it or not, people voted for them. And the votes that they received allowed them, based on the formula, to have 4 seats on that committee. Whether you like it or not, they have to be there. Right? So today we had to then choose a chairperson. Now, as you might know, now the committee meets. Now there's a process to choose a chairperson. We're going to have to vote for a chairperson. Now here's the process of voting for a chairperson. How must you vote for it? There must be a nomination given. Then there must be a seconder to that nomination. And then the vote takes place. So if there's one person nominated and nobody else is nominated, then that person automatically becomes the chairperson. If there's more than one person nominated by 2 different people or whatever, and seconded, and the person nominated accepts the nomination, then that person, there's 2 people, so then the committee must vote, and the one who gets the most votes then becomes the chairperson. Now, let me tell you what transpired today. So today we go in there, and the ANC nominates a candidate. They nominate Honorable Lakhanyane. They nominate him. The IFP seconds the nomination. So the IFP basically says, we agree that must be the nomination, right? So that's now the first nomination. Then the MKP comes, and the MKP nominates Honorable Malema from the EFF. So the ANC nominates Honorable Lakhanyane, and Honorable Lakhanyane is asked, Lakhanyane is asked, do you accept? He says, I accept the nomination to be a chairperson. It's seconded. In MKP's case, MKP comes, MKP says, we nominate EFF, Honorable Malema. They second it. When it comes to Honorable Malema having to accept the nomination, Honorable Malema says, I don't accept the nomination. So there would have been 2 people, then we would have gone to a vote. But there was only one person, because Honorable Malema said, I don't want to be chairperson. I'm stepping away. So now, by virtue of the fact that Honorable Malema doesn't want to go stand for chairperson, there's now only one name. Now, who's going to be the chairperson? The one that remains. Honorable Malema, by saying, I don't want to be chairperson, knowing that if he does that, then it would mean that the committee now supports the chairmanship of Honorable Lachanyane from the ANC. No, you come on, chunk and hail and what? That's how it played out. It's democracy. If you don't want the ANC to be the chairperson, what should you have done? Voters, what should you have done? What should you have done? You should have given more power to others. Well, don't worry, don't cry about it. We have to deal with what we have now. You will do that next year and 2029. For now, you must accept what you are dealt because of how South Africans has voted. So now we have Honorable Lachanyane from the ANC that is now the chairperson of the committee. Now, he's supposed to be neutral, and then of course every single part, not even the DA put forward a candidate who's the second largest. They didn't put forward a candidate. So even they supported. So don't let them go and tell you when you listen to the news, be very careful. When you listen to the news and you start hearing parties saying, we weren't a part of that process, it's a lie. Bobby Scara says, Malema played a boss move, he will not be restricted. You see, that's optics. That's what you'd want to think. But here's the question. Bobby, let's test your reasoning. Let's test your reasoning. Let's test whether Malema had the option, as you put it, that he strategized and said, no, I'm going to be restricted, I won't be chairperson. Remember, can you remember? He did a press conference and he said, I must be the chairperson. So in other words, he expressed a desire to be the chairperson. But do you know what he saw? The only support out of 11 votes, already there's 4 votes gone. ANC is not going to vote for him. IFP is not going to vote for him. The DA was not going to vote for him. PA was not going to vote for him. Now the next question is, do you know why PA was not going to vote for him? Because this process was supposed to be, impartial. Now Malema was already biased because he went public and said he stands with Mkhwanazi. At the anniversary, he said he stands with Mkhwanazi. There's no problem with standing with Mkhwanazi. But you can't be a chairperson, and you must be impartial, and you must look at allegations with impartiality, and you've already chosen a side. You can't be neutral. So on a matter of principle, he was not going to have enough votes. So that's what he will not say to you. He will not say it to you on the media. He'll say, it was a boss move, it was a boss move. Okay. But the real story is, even if he stood, he knew he was not going to get the votes. So it was going to be, let's say the support that he had, clearly, because the person who nominated him was MKP. So MKP has how many seats on the committee? You wrote it down there. How many? 2. Right? MKP had 2 seats. How many seats? Voting seats. Remember, it's out of 11. Voting seats. MKP had 2. How much did the EFF have? 1. So if it went to a vote, Malema knew he will just have 3 votes. Then it will be an embarrassment in the country. But what do we know, Bobby? We know he wanted to be the chairperson. So it wasn't a boss move per se. He was outnumbered. So be careful that you are not moved by the optics that you see there on the media and so on. There's deeper things happening inside. And that's the reason why I want you guys that follows me, I want you to come on this platform. First come and hear here. Before you listen to things out there. I'm there, I'm in there. You can come and listen to me. I'm in there. I'll tell you. Right? I'll tell you. Nathaniel Grootbroek, 100%. That's 100% what happened. But they won't say it there in public. They won't say it there. They won't say it there. Right? So, but that's neither here nor there. What must we be excited about? What we must be excited about, whether Honorable Malema is not the chairperson, whether he was a boss move or not a boss move, that has nothing to do with me. Not interested in boss moves and not boss moves. What I'm interested in, the committee must do the work. We must all go there and investigate and interrogate the allegations without fear, without favor. Now, here's the difference between the Patriotic Alliance. Now, before I go to the position of the Patriotic Alliance, to do what Bobby highlighted something very, very strategic there. Remember, guys, it's about the optics. It's about the perception. After the vote was done and there's now already, you can go watch the live if you think I'm lying. Go watch the entire session and you'll see how this thing played out. So what happens is then, Action SA, remember they can't vote. So Action SA would have supported EFF, but they don't have a vote. They're an alternate member and I'm present and IFP is present. So they can't substitute and vote because, right? So there was no need for a vote because there was only one candidate, and so he was uncontested because Malema didn't accept. So then, before we finished the meeting, out of the blue, Action SA, through Darrellin James, whom we come from the same community, so I love Darrellin very much. But in this instance, I must disagree with her approach, right? But nevertheless, it's her right. She has the right as a party to express her views in there. So before the meeting is over, Darrellin, Honorable James, says, look, we are very dissatisfied with the fact that the ANC is occupying the chairman's seat. And so it will not instill trust in people and whatnot and whatnot. And there are many people in the country that might share that view. Sure, she can express it. Not many people. But I think it is not correct to create the impression that there's something that anybody can do about that. The very people, the very country that will have a problem with that is the very country that created the situation in the first place. So the very country must deal with the situation that we've created ourselves, and we must get, if we want to get ourselves out of it, we must do that next year, and we must do it 2029. So she just said that. Then EFF supported what she was saying. I felt it was incorrect to create the view that this process is now illegitimate because the ANC chairperson is there, as if it was not a democratic process. And I was trying to guard against giving the impression that now this process is illegitimate. Now you're not going to trust us. Whereas you must know that even though the ANC is the chairperson, they can't stop the interrogation. They can't stop the investigation. It's impossible. Malema can't be stopped by the chairperson to question whoever is going to come before the committee. Darrellin can't be stopped. Honorable Darrellin James can't be stopped. The DA can't be stopped. Do you see? So you should trust this process. You should have confidence in this process. So I then came in and I said, let's just be very clear. I congratulated the chairperson who was appointed uncontested. I stressed that. I further stressed that it was a transparent democratic process where 2 nominations was given, and the one who was nominated, Honorable Malema, declined. As such, it provided the opportunity for there only to be one candidate, and therefore unanimously the House now accepts that the ANC chairperson, the ANC representative, will be the chairperson. Unanimously. Let's move on. So I had to stress that. I had to make that comment so that the country can understand there wasn't foul play here. There wasn't a flaw in the process. It was an open and transparent process. And then Honorable Malema came back and said, we just want to be clear that we are not against the chairperson as an individual, but we're commenting on the ANC. But you can't separate the two because the chairperson is from the ANC. But nevertheless, we leave that. Hassim David says, and Malema is the best at interrogation. You have the right to your opinion. Hassim David said, if he's the best at interrogation, great shot. Then it's good for the country because that means that we're going to have the best interrogating the allegations. And that's what this is about. It's not about this one and that one. It's about the country. It's about the country. So if that's what you feel, great stuff. Support Honorable Malema. Push for him. And hold your thumbs that through his best interrogation abilities, he uncovers the truth about these allegations. We all want that. But what we must not do is we must not create a different picture of what actually happened. James Simon, will interrogation happen in public? Yes, sir. It is a constitutional imperative and requirement that these processes are seen by all of you because it's a matter of public interest. So you all will be able to see it. You all will be able to see it. Yes, so lastly, so I was saying that what is the Patriotic Alliance stance? So the EFF stance, as you know already, is they are siding with General Mkhwanazi. They've chosen a side. There's nothing wrong. They can choose the side. You who supports the EFF, great, you've chosen the side. They even say, we are Mkhwanazi. No problem. No problem. But as the Patriotic Alliance, we have an obligation at this point not to be partial. We don't have a side yet. Why? We must first interrogate. So we have to go in there without a side. So we are going in there. I have been deployed by my party, the mighty Patriotic Alliance, not to choose sides. So when they say, I am Mkhwanazi, I know that all of you want us to say, because you've already decided in the country, it's Mkhwanazi. No problem. You have the privilege of doing that because you're not sitting on the committee. You can go, and me, on behalf of the Patriotic Alliance, I have to be fair because our party is about fairness and transparency. I must give everyone an equal opportunity. So we cannot go in there with a side, even though it's popular. We can't. That's not us. Ons baizani. We have no favorites. In our party, there's no VIPs, there's no favorites. Similarly, we use the same approach in this committee. I have a mandate to go in there, not to choose sides, but to go for the truth. So when they say, you'll hear on the news later on when it airs, and I hope they play my whole interview, where I say some parties have chosen a side. They say we are Mkhwanazi. We are saying, as the Patriotic Alliance, we are no one. We are not in Mkhwanazi. We are not Nkunu. We are South Africa. We are all of you. We have not chosen a side. Yet, we go in there impartially. We will question all parties without fear and without favor. And based on our interrogation, based on our investigation, we will then conclude whether the allegations is true or whether it's not true. It will be incorrect for us to choose a side before we go in. No, we must give everyone, we must interrogate the facts, the information. That's going to be my job. And that's what the responsibility, the mighty PA and our honorable president, my mentor, the burden that has been placed on me by my great party. And I give my word to South Africa. I give my word to my political party, to my leader and mentor. I give my commitment to all of you. I'll do my very best. I consider this not just a party deployment, but my seat on this committee I consider as national duty. Going there, sent by my party to represent all South Africans. And I want to commit to all of you. I am going to execute this duty, this national duty, this party deployment, this party mandate to serve all South Africans with transparency, with truth, with integrity, without choosing sides, without fear and favor. I commit to you today. I will execute with military precision. I'm ready. Do my best. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm not looking for applause. If I discover the truth, and the truth is not what you like, I'm going to state that truth. My job is not to go and find what you will like. My job is to find the truth. And I pray that you pray for me, that you keep me in your prayers, that you trust God, that you ask God for wisdom over my life. I'm just a human being. I can just give it my best. And I will give it my best, my very best. I'll put in the hours, study and research of all the information that we will receive for the next 2 months. I'm going to soak myself in the work of this committee as a national duty. I love you all. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that this explanation has given you some idea of what this committee is all about. And lastly, because we are based on the parliamentary timetable, parliamentarians are supposed to be on leave now, and then there's what is called constituency period, August and September. But obviously we are not now going to receive leave. We have to fulfill this national duty. So the time frame from now, we are currently drafting the terms of reference. That is, the terms of reference is the ambit within which our activity will occur. So it will define what is our reach, what can we do, can't do, etc. And the draft will be ready by Friday. Then we're going to have another meeting to adopt the terms of reference, and then we're going to start the sessions. It will be public. The decision was that it will be hosted in Gauteng because many of the members and so on is in Gauteng, and Parliament is in Cape Town, and Parliament is basically closed. So most of the sessions will happen in Gauteng, and then when Parliament opens again, then it might move back to Cape Town. And so that's really the length and breadth of it. So I'm ready, guys. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to do the very best I can. And I don't have it all worked out, but I am full of faith. And all I can do is ask all of you to pray for me. Please. I need it. All the prayers. May the will of God be done. I love you guys. I love you all very much. Very, very much. I love our country. I love our party. I love our patriots. I love our president, Mkhwanazi. I've learned so much from him, and it's time to execute what I've learned. I hear you, Hasim Davids. Shukran, my brother. And we pray that these desires that we have for the freedom of the world, that God will grant it to us, inshallah. To God be the glory for the good things He has done. According to my faith, I believe that it shall be done in Jesus' name. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Sure, I would do ownership.